does that look like? What needs to happen? Because we're kind of, with rugby in general, we fell in love with it, sorry.
It's I'm learning on the job because it's the first country I've ever worked in where there's no governance from the governing body. So that connected tissue does not exist. I think what we've done wonderfully in the Sea Wolves is that we've gone out and worked with the right people in our community. There's tremendous work being done by people who are more important than me for the future of the game here. My job is, and my role is to share what I believe is best practice, best process, to really connect the game in the Pacific Northwest. And we have a great opportunity to do that through Penarth and through Rugby Wa. And I'm really pleased to say that the Sea Wolves have signed an agreement with Pacific Northwest Rugby Union and Rugby Wa, and now we have an opportunity to get out there and support the game at community levels. I'm a big believer in you've got to get good at something instead of scattergunning your resources and being good at nothing. So my focus has been, quite rightly, come in and get the team competitive and get them knockouts. And we've still work to do there, and that's ongoing. And that's where we want to be each year. We want to be get into the knockouts, and then you've got a chance of winning trophies. And we'll grow the game that way as well. We need to work at a level just below that now also, in terms of identifying and growing the quality of the experience, supporting coaches, listening to coaches, in terms of talent that we want to bring into the game, and also identify for the professional team. So it's twofold, and I won't shy away from my responsibility as the Sea Wolves being the pinnacle of the pathway in the Pacific Northwest. And we have an opportunity to be part of that governance and growth of our game. But we also have a parallel responsibility to support and grow the game at all levels. And so for me, with the Sea Wolves, with the group of players, boys and girls underneath that, and I'm looking at that 18 years plus, because we got to manage expectation.
Yeah.
And then grassroots, right at the bottom, introduction to the game in the right way, through fundamentals, linked to long-term player development. And through that, share the values of rugby union and the game that I fell in love with, because I wasn't brought up with a rugby ball man. I didn't know what a rugby ball was until I went to a grammar school where you had to play rugby for the first 3 years. And I'm blessed that I did, because I'm sitting here today. But if I was high performance manager for US Rugby, I'd connect the game first and foremost. We've got our professional teams. I'd build a relationship with the MLR teams and reward accordingly for Indigenous talent playing within the MLR sides. Have a strong academy department linked to each team, so you have an A team or a B team if you wish, and at grassroots level I'll be investing in my teachers and coaches of the future, because we send our kids to school, the A grade kid's gonna get that A in spite of the teacher. But what about the child that's not as gifted? What inspired you to love mathematics or English or history or computers? Sometimes it's the coach or the teacher. And when my own children went to sport, when my son went to rugby union, I wanted to hear at the end of his practice that he couldn't wait to go back the next week because of his experiences, and that he loved the game and that he had fun in those early years. And that's why you want to go back. That's what you want as a parent, and that's what you want as an individual playing rugby union.
to like Division 1, Division 2 kind of concept.
Yeah,
So
but I'm even talking the earlier years, you know, how,
The youth in general.
you have so our elementary teachers, coaches need to be the best.
Yep.
Our middle school and our high school and our university college coaches need to be the best. What you coach at the Seawolves isn't appropriate in elementary school.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've got to have an understanding of the competency and the capacity of the individuals we're working with and the elements of the game that are going to make them feel successful and love the game. And over time we're introducing the game, but throughout there's a journey of fun to teaching to competing to my world where it's about winning. It can't all be about winning in the early years. And a wider version of me, USA Rugby, they have a responsibility to grow the game here. And you do that through good coaching. Europe, you know, I hear you banging the drum about that all the time. How do we support coaches? Well, there has to be a specific program as opposed to just relying on World Rugby. Ireland have invested heavily in coach education. And as a result of that, the product's good. There's only 6 million population in Ireland. They shouldn't be number one in the world.
Blows your mind, huh?
Yeah, they shouldn't be. Now there are some aspects of Ireland that are a real plus and where players come from, but the demographic of people that actually play rugby in Ireland is unbelievably small, and it's a population of 6 million.
Yeah. I was looking at something.
We saw that the other day.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Elaborate, please.
Yeah, so there's, I think it was actually Kitsap Rugby that posted this, and it was a breakdown of all the nations that are in the Rugby World Cup right now, and the population that participates in, or registered rugby players. It's I think
Yeah,
that
their
was the term.
participation in population.
Yeah, and Fiji was at the top. It was
Yeah.
10.9%. Yeah, and I think Ireland was down. I don't quite remember.
It was single digits.
It was
for
single.
sure.
It was like
Yeah.
1 or 2%.
Yeah, I think America was like 0.03.
0.03.
Yeah.
So it was like 300.
But I mean, that's kind of be expected. But what blows my mind with you elaborating on what 6 million in Ireland is like New Zealand. I think it's 4 million, both islands. Western Washington, I want to say, is between 6 and 8 million.
Right.
Like, if we could just get Americans into the game at the level that the other 119 countries are at.
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember you saying that
remember-
at the beginning of the year.
good reminder.
It's so funny. Like that's the one thing I hear from everybody. Like when I try to talk to people about rugby, they're football fans. They're like, "Oh, but," I tell them, "Hey, dude, you like the collisions.
Mhm.
You like the pace of the game." I said, if you like collisions and you want a faster pace of the game, and you know
Sportsmanship.
yeah, sportsmanship. I said, you like that. Well, they don't. One thing I get from football people. Oh, well, if you look at the hits, the football players hit harder because they have a running start. I go, come to a rugby game and you tell me that those people hit hard. You can hear. I had one of my buddies that had never been to a rugby game, gave him tickets. He said, "Man, you can hear the thud of the collisions down close." I go, my point,
And
dude.
they're not leading with their head.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
That to me, that's a huge deal because, playing football, majority of my childhood, you were taught to lead with your head, and it was just so. I mean, I thought twice about it when I was a kid in general, and then now I'm getting to the age where my buddies that went to the next levels, it's affecting them, and it's affecting them in such a negative way that we're seeing the repercussion of it all. Like,
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I'm not a woodpecker, I'm not a ram. So I don't have that membrane going around my brain to keep it in place.
Like you
would.
you watch.
So it's a terrible.
Yeah, like you
terrible
watch NFL
way.
football. You watch NFL football, and you watch the players get hit, and you're like, "Oh, it's a big hit." But then you watch a player like Samu. You watch his highlight film, man. You watch his highlight films and watch him run through and tackle people, and it's like, tell me that football players hit harder, dude. And he's hitting with a direct purpose and not hurting that other person, but just putting them down. Versus a lot of these big hits in the NFL, they're not legal hits.
I to bring that that part of the evening to a close in and around growth of the game. If you look at those other countries, they put a lot of time into their under-20s because you're getting to that age of maturation where you've developed. So physically, we know what you look like. You probably know what vocation you want to follow in life. We know if you've got the skill sets and the competency to be a professional rugby player with more accuracy. We don't always get it right. There's always a percentage of error. But those countries that are at the top of the tree now invested in their under-20s and they work in 4-year cycles. It's always about World Cup cycles. When I was performance manager for the IRFU, Irish Rugby Football Union, we introduced this concept of it's not just about the Six Nations. So we didn't work in 1-year cycles. We worked in 4-year cycles. In fact, people like Johnny Sexton were identified 9 years out from a World Cup because they're in the system. Those are your 17 and 18-year-olds. Think about it, 2031 is 8 years away.
Yeah.
So if you're 18 years of age, you're still only going to be 26 then. The 20-year-old playing today, the 22-year-old, the 24-year-old, even the 26-year-old, older,
Prime, man.
those are the players where we really need to focus in on. And what's going to attract people to play rugby union? And I love the American psyche. Successful teams, win things, compete, make it an experience, make it something that you're proud of. Because the American people recognize effort and they recognize talent, and they don't judge everything on winning and losing. I think there's a lot of honor amongst the people of America, and that's an aspect of MLR that I really enjoy. We compete hard on the field, but there's huge respect for one another off the field and honor within that respect. The USA Eagles, they're transitioning. And you can see that they're really trying to grow their game. It's a complex, dynamic game. It's going to take time for that to be the best it can possibly be. But underneath that, we're going to be working with an under-23s, an under-20s. And our under-20s going to not tier 2 tournaments, but going to the tier 1 tournament in the US and competing against the tier 1 nations. So those players experience what the top feels like, what excellence feels like, and then they become successful at playing against them. Fiji beat Australia for the first time in 59 years, and they did it deserving. They earned the right to beat them, but that didn't. It took 59 years. Can we shorten that journey? And in regards to resources and program, because it's not all about money. It's about your people first and foremost, then how you do your business, your processes, and the program that you deliver and follow and execute to get that performance on the field.
In great American rugby tradition, you must give thanks and gratitude to someone who helped you along your rugby journey. Who would that be?
Oh, who helped me?
And we all 4 of us have it.
We all do.
That's the rule.
Yep.
We kind of adopted this rule from another gen.
Yeah, my
this
buddy's,
podcast. We really liked it.
Shout out to Lance.
Yeah, my buddy Lance.
Shout out to Lance.
He does the Great American Rugby podcast from down in Florida. So,
To my parents, because they put they sacrificed a lot for me. They bought me my boots when they probably didn't have the money to buy me my boots. So things like that. I think a hell of a lot on my mother and my father. So they're good people. So I'll see you in December. And then coaches from my first introduction to the game and the values that I had in the game. But there's an old man by the name of Tony Castley who's dead and buried. And I was in Northampton and I played Irish schools and Irish under-20s. And it's through those amateur days, not one of the great coaches that I've had, and there have been many people who've influenced me and still mentor me as a coach. But I was one of those youngsters who came up through the ranks when we didn't have the same professional approach as you have today. So it was more natural talent. Played from a school, first 15 for 3 years. I played Irish schools, Irish 19s, Irish 20s. Picked up an injury, went to university, started to hit the social life and meet girls. Even went back and played soccer, the Wendy ball, as they say in Wales. But there was an old boy at a bar by the name of Tony Castley, and he said to me, "You're on, Clarke, you're wasting your talent." And he put a knife through my heart, and he's the reason why I got back into the game, because I had probably just drifted along, and within a year I was playing for Northampton Saints.
Nice.
And
Wow.
a year later I was playing for Ireland. So sometimes, it can be a straight line in terms of your progression and the steps that you take. And other times it just needs someone to prompt you and pull a heartstring. And so thanks to Tony Castley, God rest his soul, in Northampton, we were in the Swan helmet, and I was probably having a pint of Guinness or 3, and he was definitely having a pint of ale. But big old man, and got me back into the game, and big reason why I'm here today.
Noted. That's really cool. How about you, Levon?
Since it is time of the Rugby World Cup, I would say my friend, my mate John, him and I would get up early, like 6:30 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. to watch Ireland play. And about 2019, 2015, 2015, or 2019, when was that? 2011 World Cup and the 2015 World Cup. We would get up together. And back then there wasn't, there was a Peacock, there wasn't, NBC Sports or anything like that. There was just illegal streaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we get up and we'd have some pints and get our morning started right and watch Ireland play. And
Fantastic.
oh yeah.
You, brother?
I mean, my mom and my grandma were always coming out my rugby matches when I played in high school, and always supporting me. And my wife was supporting me doing this stuff, and supporting my friend Rucky and what he does. And
he's good.
Yeah.
He's
And
good.
I
He's
mean,
a nicer guy
the
than him.
biggest one of the
Where is he?
I don't know. I tried to get him to come, but he wouldn't
See
come.
him, like he's normally jumping out or something like.
Yeah.
We
Crawling under and stuff, kind of popping up.
My biggest one would be my high school coach, Mark Bullock. I mean, he is the Glendale Raptors.
I would say mine would be my wife, hands down. My wife lets me pretty much do whatever I want. She's like, as long as it's about rugby, I know that you have these plans and goals and things that you want to achieve within it in America.
She's awesome.
She is a blessing. So I give all the thanks to her.
Yeah, it's great. If you listen to all 4 of us, there are a number of different experiences that get you to where you are today. And it's how you respond to this.
Yeah, it takes a tribe for sure.
Yeah, it does.